All right, so having a little technical difficulties here. All right, I don't have Visual Studio at all for some reason. Let me see if I can get that fixed. And yeah, so it's been an interesting morning here trying to get the, there we go. Oh, nope, that's not the right screen. And I've I've got no Visual Studio for some reason. I hope I don't have to relaunch OBS. It's just kind of taken off on its own, and it's doing its own thing right now. So let's see what happens. I've got just a fancy background going here. Let me try another view. Give me a sec. And my camera is going crazy again. Nope. There we go. There's some Visual Studio. Let's see if we can get it back here. Hey, there we go. Changing screens seemed to do the trick. So a little awkward setup there, thanks to my camera going out. So my camera last show on Friday decided it was going to break clear of the hinges and just completely fall off. So I had it taped together. Now it's being RMA'd back to Razor, not to be confused with Razor, but yeah, Razor with an E. So I've got a new camera coming, so it's back to the good old shaky cam on my laptop. So we'll see how this goes. It looks like Visual Studio's up and running properly now. So we're gonna pick up where we left off on Friday. I don't have any news for today. I'll do that on Friday again. I promise I'll have some community showcase items for Friday's show. But this week I'm going to continue building on BlazePort. So last Friday we started with some simple drop downs. Let's pull up the browser here and see where we left off. We did some simple drop downs just to kind of get started with a basic component. We've got a very clean slate to work from, so there's no theme or anything built yet. We're going to do that over the course of the next couple weeks here. And we said we were going to do some simple pages today that list out some data, maybe do some master detail views. So for right now, this is coming in a little small on the stream, I can see. There we go. Right now we've got a simple drop-down box that has 3 items in it. There's a location, starting location, and destination. We're going to make those a little bit better, and here we go. Let's zoom in this way. There, that's a little easier on the eyes. Hopefully the Visual Studio is coming in okay as well. It seems like my screens got all goofed up when I had to change my camera settings. So let's bump up this font so everybody can see well. So we're going to build out some other components today, and I want to make sure everybody can see this on the stream. There we go. There, that should be a lot better. Let me know in the chat room there if that's not going to work well, if you guys can't see that well. Oh, thank you, Windows. It's popping stuff everywhere. Just trying to get all my windows aligned. Right before I went on stream, it's like my monitors decided to reconfigure themselves and everything. So there we go. We're set up with a nice editor view now. We've got our edit form, our 2 select lists, and those are our pickup location and destination for BlazePort. So we're going to have eventually, I'll pull this guy up again because there might be some new people joining us on the stream. We're building out an app that's going to be somewhat similar to this. It's going to be a mashup of a couple ideas here. It's going to let us choose our pickup location, our destination, give us some trip times, estimated prices, that type of thing, so we can book a trip to travel to some interplanetary destinations. So we'll have that going here pretty soon. We've just got a very basic mock-up going. One thing that I want to have up here in the top is a list of menu items where I can click and see these locations and some details about those locations. So I started building that out last Friday. And if we look in our service, our location service here, we have the 3 locations, Earth, Moon, Mars. We put in some basic descriptions. I'm going to actually bump these descriptions up to something a little more detailed after I get done clicking on the wrong program. I've got the Wikipedia definitions for these ready to go here. So instead of the planet Earth, I'm going to stop the app from running so I can paste this guy in. And this is a much longer description, so we can start prototyping some pages out that have a little more detail in them. So we've got the moon as well. Some interesting facts about the moon, in case we don't know what that is. I have a feeling people pretty familiar with what the moon is, but we've got a nice big description in there, and we'll finish this out with a big description of Mars. Boom, we got that one. So we got 3 primary locations so far, and we're going to build out a page to display those over the show today. I'm going to be ending in an hour and a half, so 1:30 Eastern time is going to be a hard out for me today. I've got some meetings coming up, but hopefully we have this page built out that I want to work on. So the first thing we need to do is we're going to take off and go create a new page. This is our home page right now that has, let's control F5 to get into that guy. This is our index page, and I want to go create a new page for this. And I'm going to keep this in terms of people that may be new to Blazor. So if I go in a little bit of a high overview of what we're doing, I want to make sure everybody that hasn't worked with Blazor before understands where we're at with this project. So we're on the home page, the root page of the entire project. We want to create a new component that has a page route for our locations, so we can create a list of locations. And we're going to mimic this page after, again, I said this is going to be a mashup of a couple things. If we go to demos.teller.com and look at the ASP.NET demo page, let's see, that's core. We want MVC. Let's see here. If we go to demos.teller.com and click on the product demo for MVC, we have a really nice demo out here that we can kind of get some ideas from. And what we want is a page that's similar to this here. So this is what we're going to try to build a little bit of today. We probably won't get into exactly a layout like, or pictures and everything in it like this, but we'll get pretty close. So we need to add a link and a page up the top here. So the first thing we need to do is come into pages, create a brand new component here. We'll do add, and we have an actual new dialog here now for Razor component, which is really nice, except they forgot the file extensions.razor. So it's really easy though. You just type in .razor at the end and it's fixed. I hear this will be updated in the next release of Visual Studio Preview. So we're going to say locations, or actually let's do destinations. .razor. So destinations.razor will be our new page. Visual Studio, a little slow there getting it up, but we need to create a page route up here. So the page directive is what will give us that new page route. And we just need to put in a string here, destinations, and that will register a page route for our destinations page in our application. And the next thing we need to do, if we look at our app, is we need to add attempting to reconnect. I guess it's doing a rebuild in the background. And after I made those changes, it didn't update it. Okay, there we go. So we've got our home route, and we need another button up there to create our link so we can get to our destinations page. Otherwise, we're going to keep having to come back here every time we run the app and type in /destinations, and that's going to get a little annoying. So Let's go ahead and add that. And the the navigation is found under shared main layout, shared nav menu. And you can see I've stripped out some of the boilerplate code in here. And what we're going to do is put in another nav link. I'll just go ahead and copy that one. That'll give us a good starting point. We're going to remove this match all from here. And instead, it's going to say destinations. So that's going to match. Let's see if I did that correctly. Let's remove match from there. Destinations. And then let's see if I'm getting this match thing right again. I'm not sure. I deleted all the boilerplate, so I can't remember exactly what this is. Let's do, we don't need to match at all, I don't believe, on this one. Let's run with this and see how it looks. We don't have any styling specifically for it matching that URI anyway, but it should at least give us a link. So let's put destinations for the name here as well. So we have home and destinations. We don't have any icons either, so I'm going to go ahead and remove this span. So this would have been for an icon in the boilerplate, but I've taken that out of my app so far. We're going to add our own icons later. All right, so that should give us our menu at the top. Let's do Control F5 and reload that page that we have going here. Let's give this a manual reboot here. There we go, home and destinations. So now we have our destinations page. I'm going to leave the menu bar ugly for now. It's just listing out a set of list items. So we have a div and then just these anchors that go across the page. Those are fine for now. We're doing prototype here. Eventually we'll add some styling, make that guy pop up to the top. Actually, a really quick way to do this, let's try this real fast, just so it's not in our way. We can add a bootstrap class here called d-flex, and d-flex should give us a flexbox layout that will align everything. Let's see if that does the trick. Just to give us a list that's not vertical, it should be horizontal instead. And it looks like we need to refresh this guy. Ah, there we go. So that got it out of our way. So flex is a flex box. If we go to Bootstrap, there's an actual flex box layout now, and it's a lot quicker and easier. Deflex. Yeah, there we go. It's a lot quicker and easier than adding a bunch of rows and columns. And you can see this is the way it works here. You just have items in it, and those items will flow with the Flexbox type of a layout. So it's really quick and easy. And there's more documentation on it here, how to justify things left or right, and get them to fill vertically and things like that. We don't need to do all that. We're just creating a simple menu up at the top, and that just enabled that for us. So it's not going vertical down the page anymore. We're going to use some more Flexbox here in a minute. Let's see, our destinations route works perfectly fine. So now we can go in and start hashing out our destinations page. So what we want to do on the destinations page is list out the details of all of our locations. And we have this details item in here. It's just a name and description with an ID of our different destinations we're going to send people to. So we've already used this on our index page. We get those locations through a simple service. This is running server-side Blazor. So if you're new to the stream, we're using server-side Blazor this time around. I've got some other reasons that I need to use server-side Blazor for this that are usually outside of the norm. So I'm going to be integrating this with ML.NET, and it works much easier with server-side Blazor because I don't have to call it through an HTTP proxy or anything like that, because ML.NET isn't compatible with client-side Blazor at this time. So long story short, we're using server-side Blazor for everything in this app. We also get debugging and stuff, which is nice. But we're going to use the same pattern here. We're going to take this service that goes directly to our items here. They're hard-coded right now. We're not getting those out of a database yet. And it should be minimal changes to the service to get it to do that. So we'll just copy a little bit of code off of our index page that's already using this data. Put that guy there. So we've got a couple of using statements in our location service, and now we should be able to get those locations and put those into a list. I'm just going to copy some more code here. It's all just kind of regular boilerplate stuff that I don't want to have to write again. So we don't need a form. We can pull that form code out. This was all from the index page. The index page has a form. This one doesn't, so we don't need it there. So we're just filling in these locations. So we have an array of location details called locations, and on the page init, we're going to call the service get locations, create an array of those locations so we can write those out. Now we can just do some handy razor here and say for each. Double tab. So autocomplete is amazing in Visual Studio. I can just do for each, hit tab twice, and it stubs out exactly what I need here. I'm going to just shorthand code this and say location for location in locations. And when we list those out, we're just going to write those out. Let's go ahead and throw those in a div for now. And we'll just display the name, make sure we've got everything working. So for each location, in locations, why I was going to say, why do I have an underscore there? It took a second for the compiler to catch up. So for each location, we're just going to write out the name, and we should be good to go. I'm going to control F5. We should have a list of 5 div elements with the name of the location in there. And thanks to Razor and its simplicity, like we can just do that so quick and easy. I love Razor. I've got a whole talk about Razor and all the different implementations of it that I'm doing this year at a couple conferences. And it's been a fun talk to give. Let's see. Not getting a refresh here for some reason. Let's see what's going on. If I inspect this. See if we're rendering anything out. This may just be an old view. Just digging around here. Yeah, we're not rendering anything out. So let me try closing the browser out. Ah, there was a build error. That's what happened. And it looks like we have a DLL file caught somewhere. We're just going to do a quick clean. See if we can shake that guy loose. Wow, thank you, Electric Havoc. That is mighty kind of you. I really appreciate that. So I hope you're enjoying the show. Let's rebuild the solution. Feel free to ask questions, by the way. You guys know the chat room is wide open. You can ask me anything. This thing is trying to rebuild. Really appreciate that, Electric Havoc. That's super awesome. I appreciate everybody that supports the show and subscribes and follows and all that good stuff. All right, rebuild succeeded. Let's give this a try again. Sorry, those DLLs get stuck sometimes when you're making updates. Seems to happen a little more frequently when you're running in debug without debugging. But when you run with debugging, things are a little slow. Nice. Yeah, there's so many good streamers right now. It's hard to keep up with everybody and watch all of them. We've got quite the panel of them too on our group that you can see if you scroll down. There's a group of people. I also need. I I also need to list out the schedule for this week. The schedule widget that comes with the Twitch setup is annoying, so I deleted it. I need to put it back, but the reason I deleted it is it doesn't do the automatic adjustment for daylight savings time. So twice now I've been caught where it's either showing my stream an hour early or late. So it's kind of annoying. So some of the streamers are a little too fast paced for some folks. Um, oh, sorry, I didn't see the comment up there from Big D. What's your thought on coding boot camps? Coding boot camps. There's a bunch of different kinds. Like Electric Havoc says, there are many that are fast paced. There are excellent if you've done some kind of groundwork on your own to get familiar with things. What I tell people in general is before you even do that, if you haven't touched anything at all yet, try code.org is a great place to just get some basic ideas of what you're going to learn. So code.org has good stuff. And I know it shows like little kids and stuff, but don't let that put you off. If you're an adult, it's perfectly fine to get in here and learn stuff. There's also, gosh, it's been a while since I've looked at these. Code Academy. Code Academy is another good one. So they've got really good resources to learn online a little bit on your own first. And then there is, if you want to do like self-paced stuff, there's Treehouse. It's teamtreehouse.com. And that one has really good courses, but you're going to have to pay for these. It was like $25 a month last time I checked, but they have very introductory topics for early learners, and then it scales you all the way up to where you'd be equal to what you'd learn in a boot camp. So that would be my advice. So we've got this list of destinations. Looks like our divs are rendering out here. And what I want to do is start adding some more content in here and some layouts. Let's add another set of values in here. Let's also make this bootstrap card. What's a good language to start with? I would say actually C# isn't bad. JavaScript is also good for learning. Basic is actually not bad. I know some of the other ones like Python and things can be a little more difficult from what I've heard. But those would be a couple that I would recommend. They're just going to have practical applications where you can move forward and actually get a career built off of those things. I'm going to use some Bootstrap classes in here for now. And let's say class equals card. So we'll have a card. And I'm trying to remember the bootstrappy things. I think it is another div. We can change the element type if we need to later. But we want to have a div class card title, is it? Card. Yeah, card title. There it goes. IntelliSense was failing me there. So we've got a card title. We'll put our location name up there, and then we can come down here, say div class card card body, and we can put our location dot description. Oops, not deconstruct. Wrong method. Getting a little too aggressive with the autocomplete. I want description. So we'll throw our description in there, and we can now, let's see, what other, oh, we only had an ID, so that's only two values we have. Yeah, Python's probably a little much starting out, and it might not make sense right away. What'll happen though is if you try something like JavaScript, some of the Python stuff might start making sense later. Do you know of any examples with Preview 6 and authentication with client-side Blazor? Um, so, thanks for the follow there, by the way, Big D. Blazor DOT, Blazor Docta. I don't have any specific examples of what I think you're asking for, which is client-side Blazor using ASP.NET authentication. But if you go to aka MS Blazor Workshop, let's paste that here. There is an example under session 5.6, how to use authentication with Twitter. So it's not going to be exactly the same, but it'll be very similar to how authentication will work in future releases of Blazor. So last time I checked, authentication wasn't implemented for client side yet with identity, so ASP.NET Core identity. It only works on the server side in this release. But you can do client-side auth, and this would be an example of how to do that. So try that. Step number 6 in the workshop. The whole workshop is great. I know Jeff Fritz is talking about doing the workshop on his show soon, so I'll update you guys on the details for that as soon as I know more. But that should be the best resource for now. All right, so we're for eaching over these. We've got a card now. Let's see if that card CSS is working. Let's drop this guy over here. And we've kind of got a card layout here. The title's not quite working right. So we'll have to take a look at the Bootstrap docs. I'm going to zoom out of this too. It's making the styles a little crazy. That is not how a title should look. So let's go to Bootstrap. See if we can get the cards reference up here. Cards in Bootstrap. And I've got something wrong with the title. So text, title, and links. Card title. So I've got the card class right. Card title. Oh, it should be an H. Okay. So it said the element types may not be perfect, but we can put any H title we want in here and then rerun it. And then it should look a little better. See if that does a trick. Also check my spelling. It looks like I got it spelled right. It's card dash title. Oh, it should be in the body too. So I've got the title in the card. It should be in the card body. So we'll have to move that down. So just, oops, got a little compiler again. I bet it's the same one I had last time. It is. So live editing this thing is causing havoc. Let's kill that. Let's get our nesting back here. So it's for cards, it's going to be a div with the card class, and then a div with card body, and inside of that it's the title. And let's make sure the text is going to be card text. So let's change, let's do this. Let's open a paragraph tag, and we'll move our description in there. And then we'll call it class card text. And now we have all of our Bootstrap card stuff ready to go. So now we should be able to run this guy. So that hopefully comes up a little quicker. Compiling works. I'm going to go ahead and close that Bootstrap tab out. I think we're good to go. We should have a nice looking, there we go. Cards look pretty good. So right now the cards are in a vertical layout. And what I want to do is I want these to show up in a column layout, and I want these to be like a masonry layout. So what I mean is I want them to show up like the trip expert. view that we have here. So I want these to line up like this. They actually are listed out vertically, and when they hit the bottom of the page, they then wrap into these columns. So that's the way I want to set this up. We may need some more of these too, so I probably will repeat this a few times just to make sure that as we add these, we're going to get a number of cards here. Let's see if there's an easy way I can kind of do that. So I want many locations just to make sure this thing wraps really well. So what I could do is just repeat this code block a few times. And I'm just doing this the lazy way here, just so I have like 9 locations. And it's rebuilding. Let's see if it automatically does this. Looks like it was rebuilding in the background. It failed to reconnect. Retry. I had a problem with this last show too. It wants to rebuild parts, but not all of the app. There it goes. And you don't really have to recompile every time, but it's not quite clear when you have to recompile. So just changing the view there seems to be okay. So I just repeated that a few times. I'm gonna remove these, but I'm just using this to prototype out how 9 locations would look without going in and messing with the data at all. I could put more locations in here, but I don't want to keep it that way. So I'm just going to do it simple like this. And I'll hide some of these, get them out of the way so they're not interfering with the next step here. So I want to make that masonry layout because it gets that name because it's like a brick and mortar type of a layout. And we need to give it some custom CSS. So in my app, I've got a CSS folder, but this is all generated code. So if I were to go into this, you're going to see a whole lot of stuff. This is not a file you're going to edit. And we get this nice generated text down here that's telling us that this is a file we don't edit manually, which is nice. That comes from some Visual Studio plugins that I have called Web Essentials. And that's telling me that there's a Sass file that I need to edit. And under Sass, I have my themes. Right now I have a light theme. I plan on adding a dark theme later. And I have a manifest file here called all.css. And right now all it's doing is pulling in Bootstrap. I don't have any components in here yet, so I'm going to go ahead and add a component folder. And let's call this components. And in my components, I'm going to add a new Sass file, new item. And let's see, let's go to web content. There we go. There's our Sass template. And we're going to call this one all as well because we might have more than one component in here. So I've got components all, and then I can say add a new item. And I'm going to say this is going to be our Mason layout. Or I'll just call it masonry. Thank you, Mason. That's funny. I'm talking about masonry layouts right now. Sounds like I'm talking about you. But you're very welcome. Enjoying doing this live stream stuff. It's been pretty good feedback so far. So in this masonry layout, we want to create like an upper level parent item that's it's gonna be kind of like a column wrapper, similar to the way Bootstrap does. And inside of this, we're gonna do a little flex box, and the flex box is going to tell the items inside how to display. So what we want to do is say display. And Flexbox is really simple, and I like it so far. I'm learning more about it. I'm not quite the expert on it that I'd like to be, but we're we're going to try to use it today, and we're going to say flexbox flex, and then we need to set a flow it's flex dash flow, and the flow will tell the flexbox how it is going to flow, and we're going to do a column flow. And when we say flexbox column, it's actually no different than what it's doing now. It's going to do a vertical flow like this. And what we want to do is when it hits the bottom here, we've got two items that are hanging off the page. We want to tell it to wrap those items. So we'll say columns and wrap. And then that should make the items repeat when they get to the top. And then we'll give it a width of 100% here. And then the items themselves, we need to tell it how we want those to display. And the easiest way to do this, in my opinion, is going to be, actually, we've got SAS here. I can do this. I can say inside of this we'll have, we'll say masonry, or masonry in the first div element underneath will then have a property to give it, we need to give it some kind of margins on the side. So when they do repeat, they're not bumping into each other. And we'll just do 8 pixels for now. That should give us a little bit of a buffer on the side, some nice gutters. And we need a media query. And let's go to Bootstrap and look at the docs for media queries. So we get some out of the box with Bootstrap. Let's see, we should be able to use these. Mix in cheat sheet. I want the actual docs. Where's docs? Oops, I got cards in there somehow. SAS, mix-ins, breakpoints. That's what I want. So we should be able to tell Bootstrap to give us our what do you call it? The breakpoints that you use in Bootstrap. Let us use those in our app the way we want to. There we go, SAS mix-ins. And we want responsive classes. And where is, this isn't going to the reference I want. Why? Just go back again. Let's see here. Customizing the grid, we're not doing that. Mix-ins, include, column offset, variables, nesting, margin utilities. There should be one in here. I'm trying to remember what it's called. If you guys know, tell me. There is a SAS mix-in that I can call, and it will automatically pull the breakpoints. It's similar to this. It's not this one though. Let me go back to that cheat sheet I saw earlier. Maybe it has it. Somebody's got a nice article here. His name's Ed too, so we'll see how this works. Here we go. At include media breakpoint. So this is what I'm looking for. At include media breakpoint between small and medium. We can adjust these sizes, so there's other ways to set these, and they will output. We can actually probably see. Let's see if we can find this in here. See if we're using any breakpoints. So these are the breakpoints right here that we've got, and these numbers will come from either small, medium, or large that we put into this, provided that our SAS file is picking up Bootstrap. Oh, did I? Yep, I missed a D in width. I'm trying out a new keyboard, and it's every time I press the keys, it doesn't always trigger. It's a soft touch one, so thanks for pointing that out. Let's see if this will work now. Um, so we need dot mason. Div, and then on certain screen sizes, I don't know if this is the right media query yet. I need to double check that. We're going to set the width of those individual items to 33, oops, 33.3333%. So they'll take up a third of the spacing there. And that should do the trick for this. Let's give this a run and see what it's doing so far. Hopefully the SAS builds out correctly. I think it'll pick up the include here from Bootstrap. If not, I'll hand code it for now, and we'll see why that build doesn't work. We should be able to take a look at the rendered output, and that'll show us whether that media query get picked up right or not. I didn't see any errors in the window there. So we want to get on to one of the cards, and we should see, oh, I didn't wrap this at all. So it's not using our layout yet. So kind of goofed up there. Let's kill some of these things we're not using. We're not on the nav bar anymore. Oh, I'm not importing that SAS either. So we need to import components all. And then components all needs to import the masonry thing. So add import masonry. And we don't need the SAS on the end of that. So that should tie all of our SAS together. That's why I wasn't getting any compile anything. Let's see if we've got... I'm trying to remember where this comes up, if it's under build or not. Let's trigger manual compile. If we go into CSS, nope, it's going to be our root SAS file, theme all, and we should have web compiler recompile file. Let's see if we got an output now. Package manager. I'm trying to remember which console it shows up in. I thought it was, it's not in build. It's not under source control, obviously. Is it package manager? How about task runner explorer? Let's try it here. So it looks like it compiled fine. Oh, wait. Did I edit the wrong file? No, that's the right one. Themes, light, all. Then all compiles, masonry. That should be good. Another way we can double check and make sure this works is we can go all the way to the end. Yeah, our masonry stuff did compile fine. There we go. There's actually a really good example. I don't know why I didn't think of this before. So I'll put a little comment on this page for a sec. So this right here comes from Bootstrap. So we can use the architecture that Bootstrap has used to create, the Bootstrap team used to create Bootstrap. They left a bunch of functions that they call mixins in SAS. These functions are available for developers to call and create their own CSS code from the Bootstrap framework's source code. So there's a function in Bootstrap or a mixin called media breakpoint between, and we can pass it a set of variables. And there's some predefined sizes. We could also put numbers in here. We could say something like 700 px or something, 700 pixels wide. We could set custom values as well. But I want to use the predefined ones in here because they're going to match up with other Bootstrap themed items. So this is keeping my component in line with the mechanics of Bootstrap. So this layout is going to be between the small and medium widths. I might have to adjust that, but what that actually compiles out to, and I need, yeah, site.css is my compiled version of this. We'll do a little side-by-side comparison. So this is Sass on the left, and this is the output on the right. So we've got our masonry layout here. Nothing really different in the way that's rendered out, but notice this at include actually turns into a media breakpoint. So it's media, min width, max width. And I actually want to do, if it is, let's see, if it's on a large screen, I want it to be 3 columns wide. So we can say if it's above small, I think we can do up and then remove this. And it should say if it's anything other than a small size. And that, notice that media query changed over here. So now it's min width 576. Now if I'm above this size, then it will trigger this CSS value. So hopefully that makes sense. I don't know if you guys knew that these things exist in Bootstrap, but if you're using Sass, it's a really powerful tool to take advantage of the framework's underlying source code. And you get the media queries right out of the box that way. So let's try, oh, I still haven't wrapped my component. So I need to put this layout around my component. So I'm going to go into destinations here, and outside of that repeating tag, I need a div, and it needs a class of masonry. So that's the type of repeating layout it will be. And then we can close that tag down there, do a little formatting, and let's see if we're still running in our window. And we refresh this. See how we do here. Ah, there we go. It's starting to work. So we are working downward, but we so Goran, you got to learn a little extra Bootstrap material today. Good deal, man. I used to work. I'm still friends with one of the people that started Bootstrap, and he moved on to work on Foundation and build it out, and now he's just moved on to other things in general. But I kind of know all the guts of all these things because me and him used to hang out and talk about all the inner workings of Bootstrap and whatnot back in the early days of responsive design. So our layout's not quite right yet. It's not repeating yet. I'm not sure what I'm missing. I think it needs a height value as well. So let's give it a max height. Let's just give it an arbitrary size for now. See if we can get this thing to trigger a reflow. I need to close this out because it's going to keep repeating that I've changed a file and it's trying to recompile this out. I don't need that comment there anymore. I'll show you another trick with those Bootstrap mix-ins here in a minute too. But let's try this first. Ah, there we go. So it needs a height. But now that we have a height, you can see it's repeating these out. So that's kind of the effect that I wanted. We could make that height the variable as well. But let's kind of bring that size down a little bit for now. Because we're not going to have that many items right away. So we're only really going to have 3 items. Let's see. Yep, that's the layout I wanted. So we're headed in the right direction. This is kind of what we're aiming for in the end, but this is a good start. So I think that's going to help out a lot. Let's see here. We've got images in this too. It'd be nice to have images. We're not going to have the actual image yet, but let's go ahead and make sure that images in general will work. So let's go back to, sorry, I'm doing a little tab bankruptcy again. I don't like having a ton of tabs open. So we've got our layout here. We want an image in here. And Bootstrap cards. Let's go back. Bootstrap. I can never remember all of the semantics or syntax for the Bootstrap stuff. There's just too much of it these days. So this is the basic image right here. And I think it goes above the title. And yeah, above the body as well. The reason it goes above the body and the title, and I'll show that here in a sec. Let's get that moved up where it belongs. So it's above the card body because if it's in the card body, it'll have margins. If it's above the card body, it'll stretch all the way out. And that's kind of how our container item here works. So let's kind of mimic that behavior. And of course we need an image, and we don't have one yet. We don't even really have a, in our locations, we don't even have an image. So what we're gonna do is just put in a little placeholder. And we can do that by saying placehold, or let's see, HTTP placehold. Oh, actually, let's do just double slash. Will that work? Placehold dot it. The width and height, I'm curious what the width should probably be for an image like that. Let's roll with 500 by 200 and see how that looks. So you're going to hand roll all of your CSS by yourself, Electric Havoc. You're a brave person. I know CSS very well, and it feels like you're repeating yourself if you want to write everything by yourself. Now, if you want to do that, then more power to you. But I will show you a little bit of this Bootstrap layout or setup that I have, and you might find something in here you like. I don't know if you've seen this before on the show, but the way I set it up is you go create the SaaS version of, or install the SaaS version of Bootstrap, and then in your SaaS version, you can just take this Bootstrap file and comment out quite literally everything. You go top to bottom, hit comment, take it all out, and just keep the things that make sense for you, which could be as simple as I just want a grid layout. And you can really minimize the amount of code that's generated for you doing that. So it's nice to just be able to go, okay, maybe I just want cards and a couple of, and I've got some things already commented out in here that I don't use. Modals and stuff like that. We're going to get those from other frameworks and things. So it's nice to have this type of setup where I can just go comment out what I want to keep or what I want to remove. And then I'm free to use frameworks as minimal as I want to. And then I get mix-ins as well. So the other cool tip I was going to show you, I think, Goran, you said you were new to the mix-in approach that I showed earlier, is I'll just put this here. I'm not going to keep it in. But instead of just doing breakpoints, you can also do include, and you can make rows. So let's see here. Bootstrap, SAS mixin for columns. And the make column mixin is really cool because, let's see, this is a site point tutorial, it looks like. I was looking for the actual docs, but this will do. So normally what you have, okay, this thing's trying to load some kind of animation. Normally in an app you have something like, div class equals row, and then it gets kind of spammy, and there's div class column. You can say column, or what is it? Call dash medium, and so on, like this. And then it just kind of flows that way. You keep having rows and columns. What you can actually do with the mixins, you can say like this instead. Now that that thing is loaded. This is a really good example, actually. So I can take any arbitrary tag and turn that tag into turn that specific tag into a row. So instead of saying div class row, I can just say a section is now a row. And because I have that that mix in here that says include make row, now this section is going to spit out the CSS that makes it a row. And it could be even specific as to kind of like I did with the masonry thing. If I have a section within a selector, that's a row now. So it's pretty cool stuff. You can make rows. You can also make columns. There's a make column mixin as well, and you can say what type of column it is and specify all of that stuff. So then all of those row and column things go away, and you can give them meaning. So you can give them names. You could point them at tags or specific classes or whatever. So you don't have just row, column, row, column. They actually have semantics to them. So we've got our masonry layout. I always add an extra A in there that doesn't belong when I pronounce it. I just added this placehold it /500 200. This is a really cool little tool. This is a web service, so this won't work offline, but we can do, if I go to that URL, that's all it does. So it spits back an image. And it's placehold dot it, and then the size of the image that you want. So when I reload the app, let's see, did I break it? I think it broke again. Let's try refreshing it. Go to destinations. Now I have my image holding that spot for me. When the stream started, you missed something important. Probably not too important. We're going on the second stream of a series, or third stream of a series. Oh, I actually needed to update the title of this stream. I forgot to do that. I always forget that part of the streaming thing is it automatically titles the episodes for you, but you need to go in and update that information each time. But we're on the third stream of a series that's building an app from scratch, and I mean absolute scratch, in Blazor. Today we're just iterating over some data, building out a masonry layout. I just noticed something on this layout, though. While it is repeating these three items, I've lost these here. I'm not sure what I did. I should have 9 items, not 3. So either there's something wrong with my CSS or my code. I broke something. So I've got my masonry layout, and there's many cards, and some have disappeared on me. That is not a good thing. Not a good thing at all. So it looks like, oh, they're wrapping off the page somewhere. So I think that might have happened. See, they have gone way over here. That happened when I added the images, I think. So the images, image top, these I think might have to have another class added. and it's going to be image fluid. Let's try that. That, I think, is the problem. I hit save. Let's see if I can just refresh. I still haven't figured out how Blazor does its, let's try rebuild. When it's automatically rebuilding and when it is not, I haven't figured out quite when that happens yet. I think I struggle with that on every show I do. Like, has this thing automatically... Oh, it looks like we're in limbo, I believe. Let's see if the build has stuck. Project build. Oh, there it goes. Yep. Yeah, the build got stuck, and it's trying to overwrite it's my columns? I don't know about that. I think it was the image itself. It is fluid. It wasn't fluid, so it was set to a solid 500 pixels wide, and that is making it push the other elements off the side. Maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. Image fluid doesn't seem to be working. Image. Yeah, let's see. Maybe you're right there. I thought it was working a minute ago, though, before I added those images. Let's go take these images out and see what happens real quick. Yeah, they're flowing back now. So it is the image. No, it is the columns. Darn it. Yeah, they're wrapping completely off. Thank you, Agent Coder. You spotted that for me. I thought it was something else. So let's look at our CSS again, or SAS. Let me close that guy, masonry. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. How many columns? It was supposed to be 3 columns wide, which is why it's 33%. I see what I'm doing now, I think. So they reflow at 33%, but they don't have room to go down. So, all right, I may need to research this guy and look at ways of doing it. It seems when I change the height here, that's when it went awry. But if I were to get more, items, it's always going to have this issue. If I don't have a height, it's not going to repeat at all. Like I said, I'm not super great at Flexbox, but I was trying to give it a try for the show, and it looks like I might have to read up on it a little bit more. It's kind of where I want it, but it's not. It's going way off on that side, so we'll have to see. Open File Explorer, navigate to the project, and execute .NET Watch run. No need to run it again from Visual Studio. Good tip. Let's give that a try. So I have a little shortcut that I set up. Let's give this a shot. Revert back to original Bootstrap. I took that section column thing out, so it is the original Bootstrap. I think it's my logic here in how I'm wrapping the Flexbox columns. And I need to look up on how I want to do this exactly. So it might be a later show that I fix this, but it's a step in the right direction anyway. Let's see. I was going to do a quick look at this tip here that I cannot pronounce that name. But thanks for the follow, who just followed me here. Another name that's tough to pronounce. Dina? D-I-N-A. I can't figure out how that's actually supposed to be pronounced. And then I've got another good tip from another user here. Let's give this a shot. Let's open this in File Explorer. Let's go down a level. Nope, this one. And then we will do from the command line. Pull the command line up here. And try .NET run watch. Or is it watch? Oh, watch run. Watch is started, and then we should be able to just open up in the browser. And is it running the same port? I didn't see a port number come up. There it goes. Localhost 5001. And then we won't have to rebuild and all that good stuff anymore. It'll just show up in here because we have a watch going. So thanks for that. Let's see if that works. Let me pull this. Let's see. It should have recompiled. I thought we had this licked, and then all of a sudden it just stopped working correctly. Inspect here. Sorry, trying to find my spot. Let's look at the way these cards are wrapping. So let's see if we, oh, holy cow. That image is way too big for one. I'm going to have to take that out of there. See what the computed style says. I want to see how long this is. It has a width, the height. Where's max height? Min width. Oh, that's a card. I want masonry. Max height 800, yeah. So if it doesn't have a height, it just goes all the way down the page. Okay. Let's see. If you don't have a wrap on it, this is how they lay out. This is what's nice about Flexbox. They really are easy in that regard. But I think I've got something mixed up here. And I think the images are not helping. So I'm going to take the image out for a minute. Just for a minute. And we'll take that out. I got 15 minutes for a hard out today. So that watch should have picked up that change I just made. Let's see what's going on in here. It looks like it, yeah, it did pick up that change. Running from the command line seems to help. Let's see if we can just refresh now. Oh, that did not work. There it goes. So now it's repeating correctly, but it's only because my images are gone and it's not pushing so many items onto the page. I feel like if I had a ton of items, it'd still fall off the side. Once this third column fills up, then it pops over to a fourth is what's happening. Yeah, I wasn't using Bootstrap Ancient Coder at all for this. So there's no columns at all in this. I was just using pure Flexbox to try to see if I could make this quick and easy. There's other ways we could create this layout using Bootstrap as well. I was trying to keep it to where it laid out more like a masonry style of a layout, but what we could do is actually do the columns. Let's see, deflex. Could fall back on this as well. Let's see here. Which one do I want? There should be one to fill the items across in equal spacing. I'm trying to remember which one that is. What I don't want to have to do, let's try this. Let's try really simple Bootstrap classes. What's going to happen with using Bootstrap is going to get really nested really quick, which kind of sucks. So let's give it a try though. We should be able to do row. Let me think. Div. Oops, I want to do this inside. No, not, yeah. Yeah, each item. Div, class, column. Those are going to be automatic width though. There's some real automated ways to do these. You don't have to be as specific anymore. Yeah, that's what I was trying to do originally, Electric Havoc. And I didn't quite get that to work the way I wanted to. I'm going to have to revisit that. I'd have to do some reading on Flexbox. So that worked for the first set. So let's try this. Ah! Gosh, my mouse scroll went bananas there. Let me try this way. Just going to update these real quick. This is just simulating if I had more items instead of adding them explicitly to the data set. Which I probably should have pulled in a little helper library to deal with this kind of stuff, but I didn't. Now I'm regretting it. Let's give this a second to refresh. It's still rebuilding, I think. I usually keep consoles up on my other monitor, and I don't have it there, so started. So it's picking up the change. There it goes. Now it's available. Now I can go back. And nope, that did not do it. That's all the way across now. That's going to make them all equal width. So I'd have to manually put in a break for, I'd have to count the number of locations and rows. Yeah. I'm going to undo that. I don't like that. So I think I had the right start here. I'm just going to put this back the way it was. I just need to go in and fine tune it, and I'll update the show on how that was fixed. The live reload thing, or not live reload, I guess it's not the right name for it. The .NET Watch is okay. It's just, it's a little slow at compiling, and I think it's probably the stream. Yeah, you can do column, medium 4, 12. Oh yeah, that's right. The new auto column thing would do that, wouldn't it? So you could do row, and Bootstrap's been updated in 4 that it does some of this stuff automatically, and I haven't quite gotten up to date on all of it. But Ancient Coder's got a good suggestion here. You can do this as well. And then it should automatically wrap these. So I think my compiler just gave up on me. I don't see a typo here, but I lost my highlighting. Am I missing an end tag? Do I have too many? Okay. There it goes. It got a little confused for a second. Let's try. I'm going to wipe out this last one. I don't need 9 of them. Let's do 6 for now. And I think this is the last time I'm going to lazy code this in. I'm going to do a I'm going to use a program to generate this data for me next time. Yeah, I think that might work. They auto wrap now, where I think in Bootstrap 3 they did not, if I remember correctly. We should be able to update this now. Nope, it's still compiling. There it goes. So it's not quite exactly. I'd have to add some margins in here as well. Yeah, so here's the thing I could do. So to Ancient Coder's comment here, I can use this, I can use columns medium to do that, and it will lay them out in this fashion. If I gave it a new row for each row of three and just use call without any specification in here, it would lay them out correctly as well, but then I have to kind of do some finagling to figure out where the new row starts. So this should be fine for now. I still think I'm going to drop back to that Flexbox thing earlier. Yeah, and I can put margins in here as well. So I'll save that for the next show. I'll look up how to do that masonry layout the way I expected it to work. I know I'm just missing like one simple thing to make it work the way I wanted it to. I'll look at that and we'll cover that on the next show. But we've got a little taste of what this page is going to be like. It's going to look a bit like this Trip Expert program that we've got up on the Telerik website. It lays out kind of like this, except this one does it better. I'll have to look and see how we did it here as well. But we should be able to do this 3 across thing pretty automatic without without having a bunch of crazy for eaches and stuff in there. So we'll fix that up later. In fact, I'll put this back for now because I know I'll be able to fix this. I can't remember off the top of my head how to do it. So let's try that for now. And I will come back next Wednesday with a solution that works perfectly. And it might take a little bit of practice. You're welcome, Goran. That's one of my favorite little bits of Bootstrap stuff is the mix-in pieces. They're super handy. They're fun to write to if you have your own. But tying into the breakpoint system is super handy, and so is the color theming system. You can extend that as well. So we'll jump on a show on Wednesday and finish up this card view, put the image back in there, and we'll have something that looks like this, I promise. This Wednesday, yeah, I'm going to do, I got to get a new schedule posted on my page. So let's see if I can pull my page up here without crossing the streams too badly. We'll have, if you look, this might look weird on the stream as I pull it up, but on the bottom are these panels. I'm going to post a schedule in these panels that has the full schedule for this week, but it will be Wednesday noon Eastern time, and it will be Friday as usual noon Eastern time, and I'll post those on the website, the Twitch website here. On the bottom, like I said, I took the widget off because it was making me mad. Every time there's a daylight savings change, it messes all the times up, and you have to go in and manually fix them. But yeah, let's bring this to a close. I've got a hard out here, so let's see, close this console out. Oh, another thing I want to do is push this up to GitHub real quick, and I don't think I have a project up there for it yet. We'll do that before the end of the show, and then we'll go raid somebody if anybody's online. Let's see, my repositories. I do have a BlazePort project. This may be an old one. I might have to delete this one and replace it. 21 days ago. I don't recall if this is the current one or not. Let's take a look here. It is server side. It does have my SAS build. Yeah, this is the same one. I did create a repo. Look at that. I'm just really bad at keeping it up to date. So, looks like I should have probably done this earlier. Get status. Let's see how many changes I've pending. A lot. This is really going to be a messy commit. Let's just do everything. I promise I'll get better at keeping this up. And we'll put in a migration to preview 6. And we've done some prototyping. We'll just keep it kind of broad. If you guys want to mess with that, it is up there on my GitHub page. Don't know if there's a lot for you guys to play with yet. If you want to check out how the SAS stuff works, maybe that's something that's interesting. You guys can find it there. And let's go find somebody to raid. And while I'm doing this in the background, you may hear some weirdness on the Twitch streams. Try not to cross streams, break anything while I pull up my Twitch console and look for somebody streaming. We can go raid. So thank you, 27 viewers today. Thanks everybody for joining me. We'll see you not tomorrow, but the next day on Wednesday at noon again. We'll build this out a little bit more and see how close we can get to something that actually looks like an app here pretty soon. We'll put some persistence in and add some more interactive bits and start. Yes, unfortunately, Slurry Dev, you just missed it. Only going for an hour and a half today. I got to get out of here at 1:30. And but Wednesday I will be back. So not today, but the next day, or not tomorrow, but the next day. We're gonna continue where we left off. So we're gonna keep doing this till this app is done. I got to get it done for a conference, and it's gonna be a part of a big talk that I have. And oh well, it's okay. It's late. We'll see Wednesday though. Let's see who is out there right now. That is live. So let's see here. I'm trying to figure. I'm really bad at this Twitch stuff still. There's a lot. There's a lot of new stuff to learn when you start streaming. And I'm still trying to figure out what the best way to find people on your team and how, or if they're online and how long they're online without actually pulling up Twitch itself and letting it wreak havoc on my internet. So let's see if we can find somebody to go jump in their show. Channels. There we are. We've got who's live right now. I don't see anybody streaming right now. So yeah, nobody from the Live Coders group is online right now. So we're missing the chance to jump in. I guess Monday is not a popular day for live streaming. So yeah, we'll just call it a day, I guess, and end the stream the way it is. Yep, none of us are on. I'm the only one holding down the fort today. Oh, well, we've got a suggestion in the chat room, so we'll go with that. Let's pull up the hosting or the rating thing here. And all right, let's go raid Jesse, is it? He's doing some C# basics, so let's go fly in and see how he's doing. So thanks again for joining me, everybody. We'll see you Wednesday. Let's go see what Jesse's talking about.
Because it was kind of Geico makes it easy to get help when you need it. With licensed agents available 24/7. It's not just easy. It's having a walrus in goal easy.
It's a walrus! Ridiculous!
Good job, Duncan! Way to go!
I am currently getting nothing done because I keep running into errors. Hey, I appreciate that, Surly. I didn't know that. Oh, thank you. Well, thanks to you and Surly. Were you doing some coding over there? Okay, what did I just do? Did I check in? Okay, I did. I did something. I did a thing. Okay, I think it's good now. Blazer, are nice. Cool. I've heard of that. Who was talking about that last week? Was that Surly? Probably. Okay, I think it's good now. You used to have a Blazer at school? Nice. Yeah, old school. Thanks for the follow. Blue Blazer black. Anyone get the reference? Alright, so that should be good now. Now let's see if I can figure if I can finally fix this. Cool. Yeah, thanks again, Ed. Appreciate it. Let's see if I can finally finish what I've been working on.